Welcome back. It's your boy Z. Today we got my boy Kenny Ken, the Air
What up?
Force guy. How you doing today, man?
I'm all right, bro. I'm good. I'm good. You know, just living life, man. Just out here trying to survive. You know what I mean, man? Just
Okay.
trying to live my best.
Okay. And so I guess where are you living at right now? Because you are in the Air Force, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So where are you stationed at right now?
Right now I'm in um New Mexico,
Okay.
um, place called Alamogordo. It's pretty much a wasteland. Ain't shit out here, man. Like literally the town that is here, it's here because this base is here. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like nothing is out here. It's hot as shit. It's hot as shit. Like it was last summer, like back half of summer. I'm talking like August, maybe like early October. It was hitting like 115 like regularly.
Wow, that's intense. Especially coming from you were here in Wisconsin. We don't really get those type of heats.
Yeah,
Um,
no, nothing close.
so I would say, how is it like, living on base technically, like, and not really having much around you? Like, so how was that experience, like different than Milwaukee?
Um, I'd say one of the I'm not gonna say culture shock because it isn't like nothing that crazy, but the biggest kind of like adjustment um, is is the fact that it kind of feels like a gated community. Like in Milwaukee, you kind of in the hood all the time. Like everybody mind their business. You go about yours. People here are fucking nosy, man. It gets on my nerves. It gets on my nerves. It's like a predominantly white gated community, and it makes my nuts itch every time I gotta go outside because I know somebody is potentially watching me because I'm like the only black person in this like block of base, like, and we're in the hood of the base, like, because I'm kind of like lower ranking, so all the like officers and like the higher ups, they're like on the other side of base, like that's what they show, when they're like, yeah, we got good houses. Nah, they showing they stuff. Uh, I mean, it ain't horrible out here, but I ain't never had no roach in my house before, and they they come from outside. Like them motherfuckers be like that big. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it ain't nothing to play with out here. But it's alright. It's alright. In a word, I'd be like, it's alright.
Okay.
It's alright. Yeah.
And then so what is your role in the Air Force? Like, so what do you do like day to day?
Um, what they would like me to say is we put warheads on foreheads. You know what I mean? We out here just doing what needs to be done. But in reality, I'm out here. I'm a mechanic. You
Okay.
know what I mean? I'm,
A
I'm a
glorified
mechanic.
mechanic is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and the maintenance I do is specialized. Like I work on fire trucks, like firefighter fire trucks, and something they call refuelers, and they basically gas up the fighter jets and the airplanes and stuff like that. So pretty much, I'd say like I'm pivotal. You know what I'm saying? If I was to gas myself up a little bit, uh, they can't land without fire trucks because they need something to put them out, and they can't take off without their fuelers. So I mean, I'm like in an alright position. You know what I mean? Not like super important, but like I wouldn't be like Ken ain't out here doing shit. You know what I mean?
Okay, I feel you. So when we talk about, going to the Air Force, like this is your second base, correct?
Yes, the first one was in England.
Okay. So before we talk about England, walk me through your process of deciding, like, I'm gonna go to the Air Force, like I'm just gonna enlist. What basic training was like, and then I mean I shaved my head for you, so tell me about like that process. So like
I'd say like the point in time where I was like, hey, I wanna I want to join the Air Force is, hang on, my dog want to go outside. That's like him ringing the bell. He's real smart. Good. Cool. I'd say the point where I was like, hey, I want to join the Air Force is I tried I tried college. It wasn't exactly for me in the sense that when I went to college, I was like, yo, I'm ready for parties and and girls and girls.
Hey, don't get in trouble now. Don't get in
And
trouble.
I'm married almost 3 years now. She can't really say too much. But yeah, I was like looking for like a college experience where it was like education, a social aspect, and it wasn't really hitting for me the way that I wanted it to. Um, I just didn't like it, and I felt like if I kind of stayed in Milwaukee, I would have ended up being like a factory worker or something like that because like college for me was like this is my ticket to like do something else to kind of like go be something else. Um, but it since it didn't work out, I was like, well, if I don't figure out something, then I'm just gonna be kind of like a bum out here in these streets. I mean, I don't think I would have figured out something, you know what I mean? Um, but I was like, I need to figure out something else. And the idea of going to the Air Force, or yeah, the Air Force came kind of was kind of dropped in my lap when I was working at Mayfair. You know, doing the mall cop thing with the sombrero hat and whatnot. Um, they was like, yeah, you should try to go to the Air Force. I was originally going to go to Army, and they was like, you a little smarter than the Army. You should try to go somewhere else. And I was like, you right, you know.
What do they mean by that one? Like, what was that comment about?
Um, so the way that you kind of get placed in your branches, like you have to do what's called a is it called an ASVAB? I think it's called an ASVAB if I'm remembering correctly. But basically, you have to take a test, and your test, what it does is it kind of gauges your like general knowledge, like your capacity to learn. I want to say, and if you score high, then you're if you score on higher end, then you're allowed to kind of like go to the Air Force and whatnot, and you're allowed to do more like less labor intensive jobs like intelligence and stuff like that if you were to end up going to the Air Force versus like if you were to get like a lower score. I want to say it's like out of 100, like let's say you get like a 20 or something, you know what I mean? um then they're going to be like, yeah, you didn't like meet the requirements to like the score requirements to go to the Air Force, so you're you're only really eligible to join like the Army or the Marines, which are more like labor intensive at heart. Because the way I kind of see the branches is like the Marine is like, you know, the spear. They kind of like they go in first, they do what they got to do, they handle things. And the Army is like the shaft. Like they got the numbers. They're mostly like not like grunt work, but they kind of specialize in a lot of other stuff. But that's mostly the first two are mostly like labor intensive, like I'd say grunt work for the most part. And then like the Air Force is that's supposed to be like the cyber intelligence stuff, like you're flying planes and doing all this like this crazy stuff, you know, Tony Stark type stuff, or so I thought, or so I thought. Going into it, it did not it did not turn out like that. But yeah, so it's kind of like a ranking system. Like based on your score, it's like that's kind of where you get placed and or where you're eligible to go for the most
Okay.
part.
All right. So tell me a little bit about basic training. Like I know we spent that summer trying to get you in shape, trying to,
Oh,
really make
yeah,
sure you could pass these, tests.
yeah,
And then when you got to them, I heard you like, blew them out of the water. So like, how was
yeah.
that basic training and those testings like?
Well, here's the thing about that. What we did help. Like I was it kind of put that gave me the mentality that like this is I need to work hard to kind of get to where I need to be. But man, were we were off about that that mile and a half or something like that. Because when I got there, they was like, all right. First of all, they don't really teach you how to run. There's no strategy, which I think is like a weak point in BMT. They don't really teach you how to run. They're just like, get to moving. You know what I mean? They start off with like a.
All right, so I know we spent the summer training and whatnot for basic training. How is that like on par or like way off from what like you actually did?
Um, well, it helped because it gave me the mentality that I needed to come into this thing working hard. Because I went in there and I was like, yo, I ain't going back to Milwaukee, son. I was like, so if they tell me that I need to, I don't know, I ain't gonna say nothing crazy, but if they was like, hey, you basically need to like throw this rock at this. If you need me to be somebody else, I would have been there for it. You know what I mean? Like I was ready. Like I was like, I'm not going back to Milwaukee. I was like, I refuse. I'm not going back. Um, so I kind of went in it with the mentality that I needed to like work hard and kind of like I need to graduate because I ain't going back to jail. You know what I mean? Um, but the run, it was like wildly different. Like they started us off. They was like, yeah, we're just gonna like jog. It was like slow jog, and we did the slow jog for like 30 minutes, I want to say. And then it was like, now you gonna be sprinting for like 20, like on and off. It was like you gonna walk, and it was like a timer. It was like you're gonna walk for this time, and then you're gonna sprint. And the sprint time was so much longer than the walk time. I was like, yo, I thought this is Air Force. Y'all don't know how to count. What's up with the workout, son? Um, and it was we had run days, and then we had strength days. But it was kind of cool going into it. Like I was struggling at first, and then towards the end, I was like this stuff's getting kind of easy. Um, like it's a rumor that everything there was like low fat. So like no matter how much you ate, your metabolism like sped up. Like I lost weight. Like I was like a sickly like 170, 160. Like that didn't look good on me. I was like, man, like you could probably play the little xylophone shits on my ribs. Like I was like, this ain't it. So after um, graduation, I ended up putting on a lot of weight. But yeah, I left BMT with some stories, man. It was some crazy stuff. Like from I want to say day one to like the end, the graduation day. It
And
was
how
like
long was it?
it was like 8 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want me to tell stories, experiences, I got you. Like I probably got like five, maybe. You know what I mean? Three, two, three. Um, I will say I saw like you going into BMT, you gonna see a lot more dicks than like the average female. Like a lot. Like I want a dog. I've seen more dick in like an 8 week span than I needed to see in my entire life. Like I've probably seen close to like 80, 80 to 100 dicks, man. Like
Uh,
I seen my first uncircumcised dick there. Threw me for a loop. I said, whoa, what's that, player? What's up with the schmeat, man? He got a little hood on. He's like, oh, I'm uncircumcised. I was like, oh,
uh,
okay.
that's why.
Um,
So group showers, I'm guessing, is how you saw this,
Yeah,
or
and they throw you in there, man. Like it's not a warm up period or nothing. Like I got there first night, and they was like, "All right, hit the showers." And I'm like, they give you this little bitty towel that kind of like it's the body towel, the body dry towel, and it only if you wrap it around your waist, it only goes to like mid thigh. I want to say, and I got a lot of thigh, so that thing was like I was, I was in the towel, about to bust out that thing. But you get in there and they're like, all right, showers. You're like, all right, cool. You walk in. I started walking towards the showers like fully clothed with like my towel and stuff, and they like, nah, take that off. I was like, oh, okay, draws, yeah, okay, cool. Went back, uh, got my draws right, and they was like, remember, we're not gonna tell you again. Take it all off. I was like, what? I look around, it's a bunch of butt naked dudes heading towards the shower. I was like, oh, it's a that in here. Y'all get butt naked like that. So I'm like, all right, cool, cool, man. You know, it's kind of like the mentality, you know, like everybody doing it, so you're not trying to be out of place. You know what I mean? Like you looking around, but you don't want to be weird, like staring at dudes, you know, dicks and whatnot. Um, but yeah, it's like 50 dudes heading butt naked to the shower, and you're like, all right, yeah, we in here, we in here, butt naked shower with the fellas, and it's like,
Bro, you were scarred.
oh man, it's an experience. Like it, I graduated like 4 years ago, you know what I mean, and I still remember my first day, you know, getting to the showers. You know what I mean? It's definitely like a this is the Air Force, you know what I mean? Like this is BMT.
All right, so dog, you hilarious. I mean, I can't believe that is yeah, that's burning your mentality. So I guess we're gonna move on from the shower scenes.
Oh yeah. Every time I close my eyes, it's like, man, but it's everywhere. You know what I mean?
Let's go to your first placement. You know, so you left, I want to say in what, 2016, 2017?
To go to my first base.
Yeah.
It was early 2017, I want to say, because my like training school ended up being close to like 6 months because I was there over the holidays.
Okay.
So yeah, I ended up getting England my first, like the first 3 months of 2017. Like I was like, you know, cool, I'm going
Okay.
overseas.
And then I know obviously during that time, like when you were in and you know, you end up marrying Ariana,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so
Yep.
did they cover the expenses or was that you?
Yeah, that pissed me off. That was basically what they ended up saying was like if I had gotten married before I went to England, they would have covered it. But because I was already in England, it was like, yeah, we can pretty much say that like she's okay to come here. Like, you know, with signed paperwork saying like, you know, she's allowed on base, she's allowed to live with you and all this other stuff. We'll like pay you for having a spouse, but you don't have to find a way to get her here. And I was like, ain't that about a bitch? You know what I mean? Because flight from this is before COVID and all the prices dropped. A price from like, I mean, the cost to get from like Milwaukee to England was like close to like $1,000. I was like, you know, this is my first year in. You know, I didn't really have too much of a savings or anything like that. So I was like, man, it's about to break the bank. So yeah, I had to pay pretty much completely out of pocket to like get her overseas.
Okay. And then once you guys were there, like so was it like did you get a new place? Was it just she moved into your spot or how did that work? Like did you get
Um,
more room because there was another person?
well, I was in what they call the dorms, and it's basically like mini apartments.
Okay.
Um, it's not even like a mini apartment. You just it's enough space really for like a bed, a desk, and you get like a sink and like a closet, and you get like a community bathroom. Like you share a bathroom with the guy next to you, um, and you get a kitchen. In not most cases, some cases. I was one of the rare people who had a kitchen, but that was where I was living for like a year. And then I was like, hey, I'm gonna get married. And it was like, all right, dope, you're getting married. So I had to like put in the paperwork. And then it was like, all right, paperwork's in, you're good to move off base, you know, out of the dorms. Um, and then from there, I was like, all right, I kind of like had to talk to the English people, get like an apartment and whatnot. And then from there, I was like, all right, I have a house. Now I can bring Ariana over. And then that's kind of how that went.
Okay. And so then with England, what was your biggest takeaway? Like from being there? Again, you were there for 4 years. Like that's like a lot of living space, like for 4 years. So like what was that experience like?
Um, you mean like experience with the English, or you mean like just
Both.
being over?
Both.
English, say English. Some funny dudes, you know what I mean? It's weird with the English. I'd say I'm going a little English rant. it's weird with the English because they're of age at like 16. So you see a lot of like for us, it's 18. So when we get close to that age, like 15, no, not 15, like 16 or 17, you kind of want to start pushing boundaries with your parents. You know, if you're a girl, you like, I'm gonna start trying to like, you know, show a little bit more skin. You know, I'm getting up there. So that age in England is like 13, 14. When or 14 to 15 when they start trying to like come about themselves. And it's a little weird because you see a girl and they age real fast, man. Like you got any English fans? Because I ain't sure they age like spoiled milk, bro. Like like they age fat. Like they start off all like it catches you off guard. Um like you out with the homies and you like, oh hey, you know, she look, you know, she look bad or whatever. And then you see a mom get out the car and you like, ooh, that, ooh, you know, that could have been bad. So you definitely want like ID because they look like adults. They dress like adults at the age of like 15, 16. And that's like it's kind of like unnatural, like as an American, like seeing that, it's like, hey girl, put some clothes on or something. You know what's wrong with you? That they can also start smoking around that age too, start drinking around that age. So it's like it's kind of like seeing like a little sister or a little cousin, they out here trying to get into the clubs and stuff. And you like, man, this is crazy. And as far as the military, we're still like by law, like not on no creepy shit, but like we have to adhere to like American like law and whatnot. So even if you wanted to go down that route, like, hey, you know, technically she is legal or whatever over here, like you could still get in like real big trouble because it's like that's yes, that's of age in England, but in America, that's a toddler. And I ain't no toddlers, you know. You probably got like 16-year-old viewers, but that's a kid, dude. Like, you know, basically fuck off. And we did have like a few people that got in trouble for that night. I didn't personally know them, but you hear stories because they're
Yeah.
not they kind of like I'm not saying they out here crucifying people, but they make examples of people. Like, you know, if you fuck up, they put you on blast. They like, yeah, old homie over here, he was out here. Like there was a guy, he said that he was trying to meet up with this girl to teach her a lesson. And they had they put a sting out on this dude. Like they was like, yo, like we know that he's talking to like underage chicks, but we don't have any proof. So like our own people, like Air Force people, like put a sting out on this dude. They was like, yo, we're gonna basically camp this dude, you know, because he's supposed to like meet up with this chick. And it was like, yeah, they popped up, you know, Jack in
They
the Box type
catfished
stuff.
him. Like they full
Yeah,
cat. Wow.
yeah, they was like, you're under arrest. And he was like, but I was trying to teach her a lesson. Like, nah, bro, you're going to jail, prison. Like, nah, he got court martialed and he got put away.
That's nuts. I mean, in hindsight, like I'm glad that there is a line where like you're not supposed to cross because you are an American citizen and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that's wild that like they full on catfish. Like that would have been a dope show to watch. Like like armed force catfish would be a hilarious thing to watch.
Yeah.
But I mean, wow. Like
Yeah, they out like we have our own police and everything. So like even when we're in England, they're like, you might be in a foreign country, but like we got officers out here to like enforce the American law. Like if you got in trouble off base, you get caught with in the double whammy. You know what I mean? To where you got you got in trouble because you were an American out here wilding, and then like the English police could also be like, yeah, that man was too wild. Let's hit him with like some extra time or like some pounds. That's they got money out there. It's called pounds. It's like send them with a fee.
wow. Okay. Jeez. Yeah, that double standard or that double whammy would be tough to like come across. Like I don't know if I could
Yeah,
come over there now. Like I mean,
you get caught. It's brutal. Like they can literally pull you back. Like bring that ass here, boy. We're not done with you. You catch another fee. Like yeah, or
wow.
prison, whatever.
Have you ever been in trouble? Like, did you catch any heat from? I mean, I'm not saying the girls. I'm just saying in general. Have you been in any type of trouble since you've been in?
Um, I, I almost got in trouble. I'd say the only time that I got in trouble was like a misunderstanding. I'd say the legit only time that I've actually gotten yelled at was in BMT. She was wild though, bro. She was, I was walking in my seat, and I had, it was pancake day. I had pancakes. I was like, I need more syrup. My pancakes a little dry. I'm palming my syrup packets, and she's like, I hear somebody yelling like, two hands. I'm like, fuck what she talking about. She can't be talking to me. She did it in my face. I said, hold your syrup packet with two hands. I was like, my syrup? Okay, whatever. It's all good. It's all good. Because obviously you got a bad day today. You're gonna yell at me about syrup packets. It's a bad day. All right. So I'm gonna hold it with my two hands and I'm gonna go back to my seat. Literally the only time I've ever gotten yelled at.
Wow.
I stay to myself a lot. So I don't really get in trouble.
Okay, that's nuts. I mean, two hands. Make sure you
Yeah.
do life with two
Yeah.
hands. That's a lesson for everybody though. Like, don't do that one hand shit. We don't do that here. We
Hold your
two
syrup with two
handers.
hands.
Two
It gets
hands.
sticky, you know what I mean? It gets sticky.
Yeah. How is your wife, doing with like being married to somebody who has to pretty much do like a military duty? How is that? Or like from her perspective?
She she made because she does YouTube. She made like a video about it, kind of like expressing like kind of like general concerns, but like for the most part, um, I'd say what she's been really good at is just like adapting. You know what I mean? Because at any point in time, like I've been here like almost a year. At any point in time, they could be like, "Yeah, um, you're going to Japan." Nah, I can't be like, "Nah." Technically she can like go back home. She's like, yeah, moving's like a little tough on me. We can She can go back to like her mom's or something like that, and then they'll pay. They were like, oh, she didn't want to like move, so we'll like pay for you guys to be separated. Um, but I'd say like if there's any like people out there that are like going to be married to like a military member, it definitely takes like some flexibility. She's like really good. Like she's like on all these spouse pages and all this other stuff. She'd be like finding out stuff before I do. And I'd be like, she'd be like, oh, base is gonna get shut down for some crazy shit like machine gun fire tests. And I'm like, didn't hear nothing about that. And then 3 hours later, the base gets shut down. I'm like, oh, okay, well, whatever. But yeah, I'd say it she's handling it pretty well. It's just like you have to like communicate, I guess, like try to make sure like the other person's doing all right. Like let's say, I get stationed in Japan tomorrow. They're like, hey, you going out tomorrow? It'd be a little later than tomorrow. Like they'd be like in 2 or 3 months. But just like, hey, how you feeling about this or whatever? Kind of like try to talk through it or whatever. But yeah, she's been all right with it. She hasn't like tried doing crazy, like I'm gonna kill myself. Yeah, yeah, she's been all right.
All right, sweet. Well, again, thanks for coming on to the show today, man. I really
Yeah, no
appreciate
problem.
you taking the time. You are my brother. We've known each other since I could even
Oh
remember.
yeah,
We've gotten in a lot of trouble, and
yeah,
I'm glad to see you as an adult doing your thing. Serving the country well because here home in the country, obviously, you know what happened this summer and everything. So I'm glad that you
yeah,
can still stand up for us and like do a good thing for America.
yeah.
So it's your boy Z. We got KJ, and we are out.